Aloha, y'all. Let's go ahead and pull some cards, but first, it is a root chakra day, the Muladhara chakra today on the, what is it, 12th of October. It's a Monday, moon day, ruled by the moon. Red lunar earth day, guided by universal water. And I've been trying to get my fiance on board. She's not trying, isn't really hard. It's like, I want to move back to Hawaii. I lived there for 2 years. I don't care which island, let's go. And she's like, down, but now it's about manifesting that proper. So, what universal water is way on my radar, and it is a Muladhara chakra. So, root chakra. Can you ground into the earth? Can you do the mudras, right? Do the mantras and find your stability point, your connection to earth, Gaia, at a very real root level, security, etc. Let's go ahead and pull some cards. Hopefully, you're all doing well. If this, for some reason, broadcast is interrupted on Facebook, I'll just post the link on YouTube again. It's not always easy out here for some reason, and it's not like I have bad tech, so I don't understand quite what happens sometimes. But today we have the Star card, number 17. It's the Aquarius card. Myself with the Sun and Moon in Gemini in 11th house, Jupiter in Aquarius, 7th house, and my fiance. Shout out to the best girl on the planet, Haley. You're the shit. 717 is a big thing for her. June 17th is my birthday. 17, the Star card, is kind of a big resonator. She's also got an 11th house Sun conjunct Jupiter. So we're both very Aquarian in that sense, even though we're not Aquariuses. Oh, that was a plane. I was like, what is that noise? There's a small airport nearby. And that kind of has its own sounds. So, Star card. And I'm talking about going to Hawaii. I'm talking about all this stuff, right? Dream big. Allow inspiration to guide you. Follow your highest excitement. Follow your joy. Step out and enjoy the beauty of the world. Share your gifts. Shine brightly. The Star. I beam your light. The figure is graceful, her arms raised above her head, hands delicately poised, reminiscent of the beautiful sacred dancing that is performed at the temple rituals of the cultural dances of Bali. Her fingers conduct fine electric filaments, divine energy as she stands in waters boasting much aquatic life. Hands reach out to her from the depths below, and her starlight nourishes and raises them out of the sea of overwhelming emotion. The Star, a potent symbol of light and transformation, pierces the mask of ordinary to release the extraordinary. A powerful conduit of the divine radiance, she moves effortlessly between the personal and the transpersonal realms, embodying and transmitting larger-than-life energy. Fully cognizant she's a divine vehicle and catalyst for the star energy in others. It's like, Ad Astra, kind of the whole hexacursal Aleister Crowley thing. We're all stars, in a sense. Okay, so that she lives into the incredible freedom and expansion that the energy offers her and trusts it completely. Her presence is felt, charismatic, a great lightning conductor. Working with Bowie, perceived by so many as the ultimate rock star and consummate performer, I saw someone profoundly interested in the human condition. He shone the light on other people and their talents and gave people a real platform on which to shine. Unconcerned with fame and fortune, although he did have a song called Fame, so ironic there. Fame and fortune, I experienced him as an enabler and an intellectual and a generalist who had a finger in every pie, clearly understanding the dynamics of what he asked people to do, open, humble, and always willing to learn. He seemed to have a tremendous thirst for knowledge, drawing from fields as diverse as art, philosophy, spirituality, literature, history, and anthropology, with extraordinary focus and discipline to refine and reveal the truth of the work. So often in life, we see the star up on the stage, shining their light, forgetting the tremendous focus, determination, self-control, and sacrifice that is required to light up the world for us. Starlight travels through time and space, the emissary of the celestial realm, a pure source of creative flow, igniting inspiration. I am an ENFP, the inspirer. It's not synchronistic there. Know this star quality is available to you. We can all be rock stars in that sense, right? The extraordinary that lights up the ordinary, exposing the magic that is always available in your life. A renewed sense of purpose and creativity suggests that it's time to it's time to reveal your hidden talents and shine brightly. There's much you can offer that will be greatly received. So shine bright like a diamond, like it's time to kick ass. I've been saying this a lot. Kick ass, take names. I don't know why. Maybe I'm trying to psych myself up into doing it. But the point is, the star card, the Aquarian card, is about hyper individuality for the collective. It's about teamwork from a mad genius, right? So let's tap into that on this moon day. Let's use our intuitions. And the sun is in Libra, the moon is in Leo. We'll emotionally feel good, Leo moon rather, if we are our individual selves, but we have to do that for the cause, sun in Libra. So it's like, yes, you have skills, you have gifts, you have talents, you have a shine that nobody else has. That's why Arcturus is not Polaris, is not Betelgeuse, right? So it's like they're all different stars in that sense, but at the same time, they make up the beauty of the sky, the night sky, and they sing together. It's not about one outshining the other, even though they all varying dimensionalities of brightness. We have the 5 of water coming in. So let's see what that's about. Oh, that is this book. I'm like, where'd the booklet go? I'm holding it. Derp, 5 of water. What page is that? 5 water 277. Got an Arcade Fire song stuck in my head. Don't ask. 5 of water. Keywords: loss, betrayal, fear, doubt, hopelessness, isolation, self-pity, and blame. Key phrases: feeling alone and isolated, without hope, consumed by fears and doubts, unable to see a way forward, trapped in the moment, feeling angry and betrayed, mourning your loss, and playing the victim. The 5 of water represents feelings of fear, doubt, and hopelessness that can cloud our minds and hearts and give rise to confusion, misunderstanding, and anger. These emotions are often born of our own pain or insecurities and can cloud our ability to see the love that surrounds us. My fiance Haley knows very deeply that right now I'm in a kind of confusing period. Not only am I off of all substances for a while, which is not typical. I used to grow weed, trip once a week, all that kind of stuff, drink whenever I wanted. I'm also kind of coming to a place where I'm like, what are my skill sets? I love pulling cards and giving chart readings. That's not going to pay a mortgage, right, at the moment. So it's like, I love music, but I'm not in a band. See my point? So I'm kind of in this place of feeling kind of afraid, I'll be honest. A little unsure, but I understand it all works out mentally, but then following that in my own heart is kind of problematic right now. All too often when we experience a moment of great hurt or loss, we can feel alone, as if no one could possibly understand the depths of anguish we are feeling. Whether it be the end of a marriage or friendship, the death of a loved one, or a battle with mental illness, and I have suffered from depression my whole life, so if you ever suffer from depression or bipolar or anything like that, holler, we could talk. We could sometimes find ourselves weighed down by pain and suffering and blind to the beauty and love that surrounds us. Loss of any kind causes us to experience a range of emotions, including sadness, fear, confusion, guilt, regret, anger, and betrayal. Sometimes we can even experience a complete absence of emotion, just going, blank, kind of a void space. To think of the future serves only to add to the burden of sorrow because all hope seems gone now. So even trying to make plans and get out of that rut might feel weird. The 5 of water is a challenging card because it is not one that offers any real comfort. Loss is something we all experience, and if we are already vulnerable and sensitive to hurt, then it can be overwhelming. The death of a loved one, the loss of a friend, being betrayed by someone we trusted and loved, they are no words of comfort that will lessen the pain we feel. The 5 of water symbolizes the need to allow yourself to work through your grief and to take as much time as you need. Allow the emotions to flow and flow along with them, but not to the extent that they threaten to overwhelm you or have you lashing out at others. You need to remember that you have people around you who love you. Look up. Look up what? To the stars. Look up to the hope, right? Find your hope, ultimately, in inspiration. While you may feel alone, you are not. There are people around you who have also experienced loss. They know. They understand. Allow them to be there for you in your time of need. So then that's very, we might feel individualistic, Aquarius card, star card. We might feel alone, but at the end of the day, we are tenderly connected to all it is. So we can actually reach out and find not even comfort, but just relation. Sun in Libra, right? Moon in Leo. It's like our hearts can be helped with others right now, in a sense. And there's a lot of actual energy going on in heavy ways. There's a lot of, right now, the Venus in Scorpio is opposing Neptune in Pisces. and there's a square between the North Node and Gemini and Neptune. So we might be having very weird confusion about our identity and ideas of our future. But there's a lot of squares between Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn, and the Sun in Libra, um, Mercury in Scorpio. I said earlier there was an opposition between Neptune and Mercury. It's Venus. I don't know why I said that. Venus in Virgo opposing Neptune and Pisces. And because they are up across the wheel, I'm just still waking up a little, it seems. Squares between Mars, action in retrograde Mars, and these aspects, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter in Capricorn. So there's a lot of maybe frustration and maybe even self-pity where it's like, I don't know where to go. I hope this will pan out. I'm ready to take it seriously, but there's nowhere to move. And we just have to kind of get inspired by life again. We have to find the thing that causes our inner child, Moon in Leo, to turn back on so that we can participate well with others and ourselves. The self in all of its multiplicities, as well as others, Libra Sun. So it ain't easy, but it's happening. So just grit your teeth and kind of birth through the new aeon kind of thing. And it's going to take some time. This isn't over like tomorrow. We're having to shift quite a bit of energy and consciousness from certain frequencies to new frequencies. And that isn't, I mean, that takes some time, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. Awakenings don't happen in a day. We've got the melting pot Earth timeline, number 75. Oh, congratulations to LeBron James and the Lakers. If anybody watches basketball, I don't really anymore, but they won a title last night. So, melting pot, 75. Earth, timeline, future, melting pot. Unity from diversity is one of the most powerful evolutionary ideas for a species. Humanity is an amalgamation of many diverse ET species. It is a direct reflection of the galactic community. Once humankind begins to fully embrace those who are different and sees itself as one people, it will be ready to join the galactic community. That is a very Aquarian, Age of Aquarius kind of thing. Star card. It's like, yo, unity, we're all individuals, but we all are in the weave and woof of the reality, but we might feel very hopeless in our own individuality right now, to the degree where you might not feel understood very well. You might be going through it, and you might feel kind of sad, grieving at some level about what you're losing, but what you're birthing is ultimately more interesting anyway. It's like, it is sad, I guess, that the baby doesn't kick on your tummy anymore, and, you know, all that kind of cuteness of being pregnant, but when the baby pops, it's a lot more interesting. Even it's not qualitatively better fully, but you see what I'm saying? It's like different. We're entering a new thing. Melting pot. We're getting into this oneness. Once humankind begins to fully embrace those who are different and sees itself as one people, it will be ready to join the galactic community. This card reminds you that beyond race, gender, skin color, and beliefs, all beings come from the same source. And we have an issue these days of overly identifying. Are you conservative or liberal? Are you, a redneck white supremacist or an urban Black Lives Matter? Like all this stuff, very Age of Aquarius, is very sorting hat. And we have to remember at the fundament, we have much more in common than we have individuality. Even though we are individuals, we're in a collective. So don't just feel self-pity. Be like, no one understands me. It's like, that time is over. Be empowered with who you are and melt and understand that you're not alone ever, and there's other things that feel just as, however you feel holographically is how the whole thing feels in a weird way. So the more kind of confident we can feel in our individuality, simultaneously accepting other individuals, Libra Sun, the more we'll feel true actuality and individuation, Moon and Leo. Like, we'll feel like ourselves, we'll come from the heart, and then we have to allow everybody that privilege. Humans must transcend the fear of those who are different and extend their hearts, Leo Moon, to all beings in order for this necessary evolutionary step to be activated. Extending their hearts, Sun and Libra. It's like, here, I have this, and I give it to you. This card refers to Earth's future time stream in which integration has already happened. Integration of beliefs, races, religions, and any circumstance that would create the condition of, quote, other. It refers to the time stream in which the unity field of Earth is far stronger than the ego desire for insistent individual expression or separation, right? So at some point, it doesn't matter if you're Bill Gates or a rock star or a poor person or whatever, a mentally challenged person or anything like that. Like, you're going to be your individual self, but it's going to be more understood to be part of the collective. It always was the case, and we're having those veils lifted from our eyes. It refers to the time stream in which the unity of field of Earth is far stronger than the ego desire, as in the part of us, the root chakra, the survival, like I want to be me, and I can't be one with others, when that dissipates. For any planetary species to survive, that is root chakra stuffs, right? It must move beyond the fear of other and celebrate the unification of all life. This does not mean that everyone becomes clones or zombies. It is a wonderful balance, Sun and Libra, balance of unity within diversity. This is the future that awaits Earth. But in the meantime, our challenge is to look within our lives and see where we have fear of anything that is different than what we feel comfortable within our reality. Moon and Leo. Are we getting out of our comfort zones? Are we stretching our envelopes? Are we kind of just sitting around lazy like a lion and just being like, well, I like Pride Rock and I'm not checking out that other stuff? It's like Simba had to confront his fears and get dejected out of the whole tribe and stuff to go find Timon and Pumbaa, and he was better for it, ultimately. Even though he was totally grieving and felt like, woe is me, nobody knows how it feels to watch your dad die and stuff. He was having an individual trip, but it was within a collective, and ultimately the story continues. It never stops. This is the future that waits Earth, but in the meantime, our challenge is to look within our lives and see where we have fear of anything that is different than what we feel comfortable with in our reality. If this card came up in your reading, it could mean you are still resisting a change in your beliefs or fears about something other than your life. Conversely, the message may be acknowledging how well you've done in the process of integration in your life. On the level of ET energies, it could be referring to your many ET connections and how, through time, you have come to embrace all of the galactic energy influencing you. In order to ascertain what this card specifically means for you, let your intuition guide you and listen to the messages, even those you may not want to hear, right? And sometimes we get messages that we don't want to hear. Are we going to be so loud and proud that we just shut them out and don't pay attention? Are we just going to sit around and this happens all the time? Haley's telling me exactly what I need to hear and I just pout about something. It's like, can we get out of that self-pity party and get to a place of empowerment? The way to do that is to know that you're not alone, A, and B, to reach out to others. Reach out and touch me, right? It's like reach out to the stars and try to understand the alignment that already exists. You're already one with everything. It doesn't mean you're a zombie or a clone, although we're nodes on Indra's net in some way. So it's a paradox. It's like you don't mean much, but you mean everything simultaneously, right? Don't agree with that loss of individual understanding. You are very important, but she is like holding on to a node, a star in a circle. It's like a node that's electric. That's Indra's net, maybe. And it's like she's being everything she needs to be in that witnesser mode. Simultaneously, she's one with all that is around her, as in her environment. Her enemy is part of her at some level, all that kind of stuff. So, let's go ahead and get an animal oracle card. For this moon day. We've got the beaver, work. And with all that energy squaring in the Jupiter-Pluto-Saturn situation in Capricorn, we got to get to some work, do some organization, right? Mercury's about to go in retrograde. Aries is in retrograde. This is number 27. We have the ability to, I think it's a little darker, maybe that'll help. We have the ability to get things done today. So don't, I'm going to do some chakra meditations and maybe have a moment or two of relaxation, but more or less I'm going to be trying to push the rock up the hill, right? We got to do that. And on a moon day, we can use our intuition more than not, knowing that we have an individual calling, not to just go, oh, it's not working out. Oh my gosh, why do I have these gifts? Why do I have these hindrances and all this stuff? And instead of like focusing on that, focus on what you can do as an attribution to raising the collective as yourself, melting pot. Like what you do for yourself helps others. What you don't do for yourself neglects others. So do the work, right? So 27. And trust me, I'm not one with a North Node in Taurus and a Midheaven in Taurus and a Venus in Taurus. I tend to be more Leo rising. I tend to be kind of lazy. So hearing me say get the work done should hit you in the face a little. Beaver, work. To love your work is a gift. Find a balance. Sun in Libra, find a balance between work and rest. It is worth aligning your work with your purpose if you can. And it's a big if, maybe not, maybe you're a bus driver and actually what you do is like write screenplays at night and you're not in Hollywood, but you're still having fun writing screenplays in your spare time. That's fine. That means your joy isn't your career, so to speak, but try to enjoy driving the bus and smiling to people and stuff. Your individual identity exists at multiple levels. It doesn't mean that you're going to always earn cash from your individuality. That's okay. We've been told, that doesn't mean it can't happen. But it's very situational. Hit me up for a reading about your chart or pulling cards. I could tell you about how that might look in your reality. but it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Some people tap in, can very, very much tap into a liquidity of lucrative money and power and all this kind of stuff through their talents. And some people have a talent that nobody ever sees, but it's still a skill set. That doesn't mean give up. Van Gogh never got, seen in public. He didn't give up. He didn't just say, no one's buying this, I give up, right? He kept working at his craft. So being positively, mindfully engaged in your work, no matter what it might be, is healthy. So love your work. Someone may be attempting to micromanage you at your job, and this is not an optimum way to work. Perhaps it is time for you to be your own boss. Being your own boss, the star card. Aquarius, are you independent? You're still working on a team, but are you doing your own fucking thing? Right? Mythos. The Ojibwe First Nations people tell a story about the beaver. A beaver was speaking with other animals and was telling them how happy he was about his tail. This is some fucking Libra and Sun socializing and kind of playing nice, but Moon and Leo, like bragging in a sense for emotional satisfaction. The beaver's saying how much he likes his tail. Look, bird, how fluffy my tail is. It's so fluffy, is it not? Asked the beaver. The bird looked at the beaver's very fluffy tail and said, sure, it's very nice, but seemed dismissive to the beaver. The beaver then went to the muskrat. Do you like my tail, muskrat? Is it not beautiful and thick with fur? Muskrat said, yes, but is it a strong tail? Can it do work? The beaver was puzzled. I asked if you thought my tail was beautiful, not strong. Some Moon and Leo, Sun and Libra shit. It's like, I want you to make me feel good about myself, and I don't feel good about myself without your compliments. So tell me how beautiful my tail is, right? The muskrat just shook his head and walked away, saying, who cares if your tail's beautiful or not? And this is the practicality. Venus and Virgo. Is it functionally good? Is it healthy? It's not so much as it the most ornate or the most superfluous, whatever. The beaver was upset with the animals he had spoken to and went back to cutting trees for the dam. As he was thinking about how rude the other animals had been to him, he misplaced a cut and the tree fell on his tail. The beaver wiggled his tail out from under the tree and saw the weight of the tree had flattened it and removed the fur. It was black and leathery now. So look, he was feeling self-pity because he wasn't getting the accolade of being, his tail wasn't as rock stardom as he was like, tell me how awesome it is. And they were kind of being, socialists essentially. They're like, yeah, but is it functional? Is it helping the community? Chill out, bro. So interesting, right? And then all of a sudden he's musing over how fucked up they are for not telling me how awesome my beautiful tail is, and he makes a bad cut in a tree and it falls on his tail and squashes it. The beaver sat on a sandy shore and cried himself heartily. Oh, 5 of waters, self-pity, sorrow, grief. Oh, my tail, my fucking tail, right? He cried so loudly that the Creator himself came to comfort him. You know it's bad when God comes. In that sense, I'm just kind of kidding. But the beaver said to Creator, oh, Creator, look what has happened to my tail. It's flat and ugly now. And the Creator said, no, it's not ugly, and it is now more useful. Now you will be able to swim so much more strongly. Like you actually, like this is a blessing in disguise. This adaptation, evolution, this chaotic Uranus rules the star card, right? Aquarius, punctuation events, right? Evolution. It's like, yeah, you're still in the circle of life, but your tail now is an attribute that has different value sets that can actually upgrade your reality. Buddy, don't you see the big picture? Not just the details and crying about the details. The beaver considered this and realized this was true, but thought that his friends would not care for him anymore. Moon and Leo, Sun and Libra. He's like, oh, it's true, but my pride is involved here, and if they don't support me at a certain level, I don't even think they're my friends. It's like sass like that. The Creator smiled and said, no, beaver, your tail is not why your friends love you. They love you for your hard work and industry and for your kindness and goodness. Your tail has nothing to do with it. And with that, the beaver was satisfied. Beavers feature in many myths of the First Nations and the Americans in Canada, the Inuit, and the ancient Norse animal. The beaver is an incredibly transformational force upon the landscape. They can divert rivers and waterways and construct dams that create flooded areas, pools, and ponds that enable fish to breed and certain plants to flourish. Besides humans, they are most probably the most powerful architects of landscape on Earth. To do all this changing of the landscape, beavers need to be industrious and work hard. They seem always to be active and busy, literally cutting down trees with their powerfully sharp front teeth, which continually grow, and using their hands to move heavy objects and shape mud. They do this to dam areas so they can build their lodges, working through the night and day. The interior of the lodges do not freeze hard in the winter because of the nature of their construction, with air pockets above the pile of branches and sticks that insulating effect of snow. Beavers share their lodges as monogamous pairs with their kits. They are territorial and will defend their territories. They're strongly built and weigh and on average 25 kilograms, and are the second largest rodent on Earth after the capybara. So it's a rodent. Their tails in particular are a great asset, the rounded and flat shape being able to propel them very quickly in the water, but also giving them good balance on land. Balance, Sun in Libra. Beavers are very agile underwater and are able to stay up there underwater for 15 minutes if threatened, although they usually spend only a few minutes at a time, as there is always work to do. Magic. When you find it hard to be motivating yourself, when you're kind of down in the dumps, when not even the vacation feels good, when you're just sitting in Vegas drinking, you're like, man, I should be having fun. I hate my job. I hate fucking vacation. Snap out of it. Look at the power of your individuality and look at your life as a work, a great work, a calling. It is part of a melting pot, but all of us have a role to play in this metropolis of being, right? In this Tao, in this fluctuating ecosystem of energy. When you find it hard to motivate yourself, or when there are things that aren't working out the way with your career or your work situation, Haley knows my head is at with this, Beaver energy can help. When you need to help finish a physical project or attract good craftspeople, call upon Beaver magic to assist. Symbologies: lodge, like their houses, the beaver houses. Paddle like a tail, beaver teeth, and status is of least concern. There's quite a few beavers. There were some beavers on my lake here, and the humans that live here, not my family, but the other people that live on this lake, were like, we want them removed because they were biting down some trees, and I didn't like that particularly, but they're gone now. But it was really funny to see beavers swimming at night, and I heard them one night jumping out and slapping the tail. This is star card shit. I mean, it's very similar in that she's crowned with an electric kind of circular situation. Oh wow, a radiating solar disk, dare I say. So Jean-Michel Basquiat, I always forget how to pronounce this, but an amazing artist. Where are you at? There it is. Before he became every art dealer's dream catch, as in before he became a rock star, the charismatic Jean-Michel found fame literally underground. First with friends, then solo, he wrote satirical commentary on the walls of downtown New York and its subways under the pseudonym Samo, S-A-M-O. This is like early kind of like postmodern graffiti art, but not graffiti, but like street art kind of stuff. By the early 1980s, Basquiat was wearing paint-splattered Armani suits and selling out his paintings of distressed figures, largely described as primitive or neo-expressionist. Of Haitian and Puerto Rican descent, Basquiat lent his personal and political experiences to his art. His avalanche of stardom, literally what we're talking about, stardom, his avalanche of stardom kept rolling with Andy Warhol collaborations, Sun in Libra, and friendships with various Madonnas and Bowies, David Bowie, Sun in Libra, networking, right? And why? For his emotional output, his creativity, Moon in Leo. When Basquiat died of a heroin overdose at age 27, many argued it was actually the 1980s gallery scene that killed him. So it is like he was doing his work, but the melting pot of the scene kind of killed him. He didn't maintain his individuality. He got all into heroin, and the 5 of water is kind of just like you drift into the hopelessness of the nothing and die or whatever, right? Like he was obviously trying to avoid something with heroin. Heroin's a strong drug. It's like it's not acid. Let's put it that way. It's like an avoidant drug, a numbing agent. So good work can come from bad habits, is what Jean-Michel is telling us. You have good and bad attributes that make you very individualistic. You are a star. You have very certain, quality. Like, hit me up for a chart reading. I can do this and show you your superpowers as well as your Achilles heel on multiple levels. But you have many aspects to yourself that make you the genius that you are, and you have some Achilles heels, right? And in a sense, good work, and it's not surprising this word is coming out, good work, the beaver, can come from bad habits, things that you grieve and are sad about, and maybe that you find woe is me and feel self-pity, right? you can actually use them for the collective, the melting pot. The melting pot needs your good and your bad. This isn't about peak performance in a sense. It's like you're always peak performing, and how you are responding to your environment creates the exact balance of that which needs to be. But we have this tendency to think like, oh, if I'm not being productive, I'm a bum, or oh, if I'm not married, I'm a loner, or whatever. Just like these weird things. Know that good work can come from your bad habits, though. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So you have attributes that are very unique to you, and for example, it's a little annoying, especially to Haley, that my mind can kind of flit about everywhere and I don't focus easily. That comes in very handily with music and improvisation, right? So I can use my ADD to create new worlds constantly and not just like play like 3 chords and only 3 chords, right? So good work can come from bad habits. You have to put in the work though, right? You have to do the work with what you got. Like if there's lumps in your clay, you could still work with them, right? Don't just cry about the lumps in your clay. The lumps in your clay are the clay you've been dealt. You've asked for this lump actually. Try to understand it plays a specific role in the Tao, and that will help everything move forward continually. You don't have to actually be sad about anything or fearful or regretful. Everything that occurs is good and necessary. It's all helping to the evolution of the collective. So let's get a stone, and then I'll play a song. I'm going to go ahead and play that Arcade Fire song that's been in my head. So we've got Hiddenite. All right. I feel like I need to shuffle the shit out of these because I feel like I got Hiddenite like last week or something. But whatever. Hiddenite, what it is, a variety of spodumene. Hiddenite's green aura emanates the warm and fuzzies. If you tap into the stone frequency and feel the buzz, you must have a big heart. Use it. The moon is in Leo. Big heart chakra, right, is Leo. Who needs it? French existentialists, future trippers, bad romantics, people worrying. 5 of water. If you're sitting in your head just going, woe is me, how do I be my individual self? It's like your individual self, whether you're worried about it or not. You might as well make those bad habits productive and good and profitable. Where to put it? Hiddenite, like its cuddly pink cousin kunzite, should be aimed at the heart. Moon and Leo, heart. When to use it? When you find yourself stuck in the past or too focused on the future. Haley knows I'm guilty of this. Hiddenite is down to make the most of every moment. If you're in a rut, call on Hiddenite to help you love your way out of it. Claim your happy place. So we are powerful beings embodied as such. We all have our own special happy places. Don't neglect that. Right? There's something that turns you on that maybe doesn't turn anybody else on. You don't have to, woe is me, nobody else understands me, oh my God, I love, eating chocolate on a swing upside down on Wednesdays under a full moon and nobody else loves it. It's like, fuck it, like go do it. Be what you love. You are the uniqueness of the universe expressing itself in a very specific algorithm and a specific frequency. It could be very isolating sometimes and hopeless. Even Jesus wept and was like, do I really have to fucking die? Like, what the fuck, bro? Right? It doesn't always make it easy. Buddha forwent his millions of dollars in harem and all this shit, right? And his wife and son. We're in a melting pot, right? So claim your happy place in the orgy of being. You already have. That's what being an individual is. But don't just focus on what you don't have. Focus on being one with the collective. I mean, you are anyway, right? And that will raise your spirits, hopefully. You are not alone ever, right? Get your work done, though. You have reasons to be here, and it might not always be like career-oriented work. There might be a word you have to say to someone at some point, and it turns them on, and that's what inspired them to do this. You see what I mean? It's like we're here to encourage each other and to inspire, basically. Good work can come from bad habits, so don't even grieve 5 of waters, your bad habits, in a sense. It's like, I'll be able to speak upon addiction in a very different way now that I don't abuse substances the same way, right? So bad habits can come from good work can come from bad habits. That's a lot of the reason I play music in general is, I played music before weed, but weed made it so I could just kind of paint in sonic layers for hours. Claim your happy place. Music's mine. What's yours? I love giving readings. That's also a happy place. Holler for readings. So let's play a song. Like I said, I'll play an Arcade Fire song. Can I stretch and get this without? Yes. And this is kind of a 5 of waters where it's looking at like the structure of reality, Western suburban life in America, and it's collapsing. Like, we've done the hyper individualism thing to a point where, like, there's negativity with that. We haven't realized we're part of a melting pot, right? And there's something to be grieved, in a sense, over our selfishness. But at the same time, these conditions were created for us as clay to play with. Like, we preferred these conditions. That's why we're here. Think of it that way. Good things can come from your bad habits, so don't just sit there and cry. Ultimately, find your Zen place, your happy place, your Bodhi tree, whatever you want to call it, regardless of the situation. So this song is called The Suburbs. Suburbs, I learned to drive, and he told me we'd never survive. Grab your mother's keys, we're leaving. You always seem so sure that one day we'd be fighting in a suburban war. You're part of town against mine. I saw you standing on the opposite shore. But by the time the first bombs fell, we were already bored. We were already bored. Sometimes I can't believe it. I'm moving past the feeling. Sometimes I can't believe it. I'm moving past the feeling again. The kids wanna be so hard, dreams we're still screaming, running through the yard. When all the walls that they built in the 70s finally fall, and all of the houses they built in the 70s finally fall, and nothing at all meant nothing at all. It meant nothing. Sometimes I can't. Daughter, while I'm still young, I wanna hold her hand, show her some beauty before all this damage is done. But if it's too much to ask, if it's too much to ask, send me a son. Under the overpass, parking lot, we're still waiting, it's already passed. So move your feet from hot pavement and into the grass, 'cause it's already passed, it's already passed. Sometimes I can't believe it. I'm moving past the feeling. Sometimes past the feeling again. I'm moving past the feeling. go. In my dreams, we're still screaming. Okay, so I forgot this part. My bad. Still screaming and running through the yard. We're still screaming. Oh yeah, this is the outro. I'm like, what is this part? We're still screaming. Or something. So, let me carefully put this guitar down so it doesn't fall, which it may. Nonetheless, what we have, here are the cards, is the Aquarius card, 17. It's about hyper-individuality, and but it's still in relationship, right? It's not just isolated individuality. With the moon in Leo, we're coming from an emotional place of the heart and individuality, but with the sun in Libra, it's participating with others and with ourself well, right? Star card. We have the ability to overcome. I mean, even in that song, it's like, man, self-pity. Man, if I want to have a daughter while there's still beauty in the world, there are so many lyrical things with the astrology. I want to have a daughter and I feel bad, but I guess if I have to have something, let me have a son, right? We have to understand our role and that everything that's happening is good and necessary, no matter how weird it feels, always for the highest good of everything. Get in that mode. I'm having to tell myself that. That is the great work. That's what we're here to do. We're here to focus on that reality, and it's not a dream, it's a truth, but it's a choice to believe that or not, right? Good work can come from bad habits. So don't just think everything you do that's, you never, like, how would I put this? Bad habits can form character if you overcome them, and if you work in spite of them. If you work in spite of your bad habits, you can actually incorporate some of them, right? Personality, individuality can have quirkiness, and quirkiness has positive and negative polarities, right? So claim your happy place with Hiddenite, right? That's the stone we're getting. Claim your individuality, claim your kingdom, but do it in a way where you don't feel self-pity and isolated and woe is me and hopeless and fearful. Kind of just be in the present moment as much as you can. Know that we're all experiencing these things. You're not alone. You're here for very specific reasons. That's why we're all incarnated. It's not science and cultural philosophy of existential, postmodernism wants to tell you nihilism. You don't mean anything. It's like, that's bullshit. The great work is being itself, and we're here to churn energy. We're here to move forward. Good and bad habits exist. Good work can come from bad habits. So it's like he was a kind of a weird punk, and he graffitied everywhere, and it made him money, right? Claim your happy place, though. He was probably most happy when he was running around, Leo moon, expressing himself in very fun, playful ways, right? Claim your happy place. Claim that heart chakra place. And that's kind of what it is. Hopefully that resonates. Tag people if you liked it. Share it. Whatever's clever. Hit me up for readings. Love giving them. You'll like getting them. Trust me on that. 5 stars only. And no podcast today, but apparently Raphael said the next guest we have is on Tuesday, I think. And it's somebody who was a Jesuit priest and then realized Jesus is an alien. That should be interesting. So... yeah, the walls of the old industry, the houses they built in the 70s are finally falling. We're coming into a new age, an age of what? Aquarius, 17 star card, but that doesn't come without fucking some weird feels. We're going to have to, like, let go of maybe bad habits, right? And know that we're having to think more collectively now, age of Aquarius for sure. That is the great work. That's where we find ourselves. Those bad habits can still be to good use. So don't just beat yourself up for having bad habits. Everybody does. And claim your happy place. Follow your joy. Follow your highest excitement with no expectations and see where it leads you. I have to do this myself. I don't do it perfectly. Haley can extremely attest to that. But that's the goal. And that's what we're doing. And it's all good. So hopefully that makes sense. Everybody, have a good day. Adios.